They once believed they held all the power, confident in their control over this world, thinking they could manipulate anyone with wealth and influence. But now, the tables have turned. They are gripped by an unimaginable regret, feeling the intense wrath of God in ways that reach beyond human understanding. The remarkable part: God is manifesting this divine justice through you. Yes, through you, His chosen one. When demons see you now, they sense something extraordinary, a force they cannot comprehend. They shudder in your presence, recognizing an authority within you that wasn't there before. Your very essence, your scent, your appearance, even the tone of your voice, has transformed, signaling to them that you are no longer who you once were. Now, you walk in divine power, and they know it. But have you ever wondered why demons fear you so deeply? Or what has changed in you that makes even darkness retreat? What if the powers they dread are not just within you, but are also a direct expression of God's presence? As we go further, we'll dive into how this transformation aligns you with God's purpose, equipping you to confront and overcome the forces of evil in ways even you may not fully understand yet. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reflect. Then, while the video plays, leave a comment below: "I've awakened." This statement is not just words, it's a declaration of your newfound strength and authority, a testament to the fact that you are no longer merely in the world, but a powerful agent of God's will. Now, let's explore the divine truths that empower God's chosen ones to triumph over darkness. God's chosen ones, 100% of demons are scared of your powers. God has been quietly observing every challenge you've endured, every word aimed to break you, and every action plotted to derail your journey. Though His presence may seem silent, it has been deeply attentive, knowing every detail. Now, a profound, unexpected transformation is unfolding, a divine shift that brings consequences back upon those who sought to harm you. Those who tried to undermine you are now encountering the very repercussions of their actions, like a boomerang returning to its source. Not a single moment has passed without God's watchful gaze, for He sees every move, every attempt to thwart His purpose for your life. Imagine this: the plans they devised against you were doomed from the start, because they underestimated a force far greater than themselves. They failed to grasp that you're not like everyone else. You are set apart, uniquely protected by an unseen power, with a purpose that no human hand can erase. As the psalmist declares in Psalm 105 verse 15, "Do not touch my anointed ones, do my prophets no harm." God has marked you with a special protection, and those who ignored this sacred warning now face the very storms they intended for you. Have you ever felt the weight of this unseen shield around you, or sensed that your path is protected, even in silence? Take a moment to consider that every trial was known to God, and nothing has gone unnoticed. The enemies who marched forward arrogantly, thinking they could overpower you, are now feeling the repercussions. The traps they set for you have backfired, pulling them into the very pitfalls they dug. In their pride, their confidence blinded them, making them believe they had the power to redirect your path or block your divine calling. But God, in His wisdom, foresaw every step. He allowed them to walk in their own pride, knowing their actions would return to them with a force they could never control. Proverbs 26 verse 27 teaches us, "Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, if someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them." In the same way, their plans have collapsed upon them, leaving them vulnerable to the very judgment they sought to avoid. As their foundations weaken and crumble, like a fragile pier against a relentless current, they sense the impending justice of God. Though they may try to hide their fear, they feel the cold breath of destruction close behind, with no shield strong enough to protect them. Do you see how God's justice operates in silence, yet with such precision? The storm that returns to them is unavoidable, exposing every false foundation they built. They are now defenseless before God's judgment, with no place to hide. If you've ever doubted the power of God's silent justice, remember this: nothing done against you has gone unnoticed. As the video continues, reflect on how God has safeguarded you through it all. And if this resonates deeply, comment below, "I am protected." This declaration is a reminder that God's chosen ones walk with a power unseen, yet undeniable, shielded and destined to fulfill their purpose beyond any earthly interference. Those who once considered themselves powerful and invincible are now caught in a web of their own making, a labyrinth from which there is no escape. Each step they take is no longer guided by their own will, but rather becomes a fated link in a chain that pulls them back to the consequences of their own choices. The voices that once shouted commands now echo into emptiness, swallowed by a void that prevents even their own thoughts from finding a way out. Their actions against you, once deliberate and calculated, have now become the very chains that bind them, entangling them in the darkness they sought to bring upon you. They constructed a shadow meant to weaken and overwhelm you, yet that shadow has collapsed upon them, dragging each of them into a swirling darkness they cannot escape. This darkness wraps around them like a heavy weight, tightening with each move they make, leaving them helpless against the inevitable justice they face. As time slips through their fingers like grains of sand, they realize there is no safe place left, no hiding place where they can escape the consequences of their deeds. The power they once wielded with confidence now slips from their grasp, unraveling their intricate plans like threads unwinding in the wind. Every knot they tied against you now returns to them as a new entanglement, binding them tighter with each attempt to escape. As they struggle in desperation, trying to find a way out, they only descend further into God's judgment, pulling themselves deeper with each futile move. Have you ever wondered how the mighty can fall so suddenly, or how their seemingly unshakable power can crumble in an instant? Consider the biblical story of Haman in the book of Esther. Haman, who devised an elaborate plan to destroy Mordecai and the Jewish people, built a gallows intending to hang Mordecai. Yet, in a profound twist of fate, Haman was the one who ultimately met his end on that very gallows, Esther 7 verses 9 to 10. Just as Haman's plans backfired upon him, the forces that once seemed unbreakable now collapse upon those who sought to destroy God's chosen ones. Each act of betrayal, every malicious intent, is now laid bare in the face of divine justice. Now, like a gathering storm, God's intervention reveals every hidden intention and secret, leaving no corner for them to hide. His justice moves silently, yet powerfully, creeping into every shadow and filling their hearts with a fear they cannot ignore. With each step they take, their fear deepens, consuming the peace and hope they once held. God's justice is not only unavoidable but also unyielding, dismantling every false foundation and revealing the emptiness of their pursuits. Reflect on this. Have you ever sensed God's justice moving in silent but powerful ways, dismantling the plans of those who meant harm? If this resonates, and if you too trust in God's unfailing protection, declare it boldly below by commenting, "I trust in God." Let this be your reminder that His justice is sure, His protection unfailing, and that those who walk in the light are shielded from any darkness others may wish upon them. The very attempts your enemies made to harm you have backfired, sparking the beginning of their own downfall, surrounded by God's unwavering grace. You stand shielded by a divine protection that nothing in this world can shake. Every detail has been seen and every act has been weighed by divine justice, leaving no deed unnoticed and no intention hidden. What you're witnessing now is not merely their failure, it is the undeniable proof of your unbreakable, irrefutable calling. You have walked through the deepest valleys of pain and loss, facing trials that could have shattered anyone else. Your enemies believed they could destroy you by taking what was precious to you, your resources, your loved ones, your peace. They celebrated their supposed victory, basking in a fleeting sense of triumph. Yet in their arrogance, they unwittingly laid the foundation for their own downfall. Think about this. What if every trial, every attack, was merely a setup for God to reveal His justice? Job's story offers a powerful reminder. In the book of Job, his enemies and even his friends misunderstood his suffering, thinking it meant his defeat. But in the end, Job's steadfastness led not only to his restoration, but to the humbling of those who questioned him, Job 42 verses 1 to 17. Just as Job's endurance became a testament to God's faithfulness, your journey through hardship showcases your divine resilience and purpose. What your enemies didn't realize was that nothing they took from you was ever theirs to possess. Now, the very power they believed they held is slipping from their hands, crushed under the weight of divine justice. Those who once stood confidently now see everything they valued crumbling before them. You are no ordinary person. Your very presence disrupts their peace, and your resilience breaks down their pride. Each moment you continue to stand firm, their carefully laid plans unravel. Every victory they thought they had achieved was, in reality, a step toward their own undoing. Have you ever felt that your hardships were tests designed not to break you, but to elevate you? As you reflect, recognize that God's protection has never left you, and your path was always meant to rise above these trials. Psalm 23 verse 4 reassures us, "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." In every moment of pain and every loss, God was with you, ensuring that no harm would ultimately prevail against you. What your adversaries don't understand is that their actions have only reinforced your calling. While they tried to strip you of peace and honor, they were unknowingly paving the way for their own undoing. Every hardship you faced was seen by God, each tear and sacrifice noted in His book. Remember that His justice is not slow, but precise, arriving at the perfect moment. The pain you carry did not start today. It traces back to childhood, to wounds inflicted by those who withheld the love and trust you needed most. Perhaps family members, friends, or mentors planted seeds of betrayal, leaving scars that shaped the battles you face today. These seeds of hatred, sown in your innocence, have quietly taken root, waiting for the moment to reveal the consequences of their actions. Now, after all this time, the very ground beneath them, the stability they once counted on, is slipping away. They underestimated the silent battles you fought. While they reveled in temporary pleasures and power, they couldn't see the traps forming around them. Their sense of security was an illusion, and now it collapses around them like an irreversible whirlpool, pulling them deeper into their own undoing. And here you stand, rising above it all, finding a sense of peace and strength in God's unyielding guidance. Consider the words in Isaiah 61 verse 7, "Instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion, and instead of disgrace, you will rejoice in your inheritance." What they took from you, the peace, the love, the opportunities, will be returned to you abundantly by God's hand. He is not only restoring what was lost but blessing you with an overflow, honoring your endurance through these years of hardship. Now, those who once saw themselves as untouchable find themselves facing a force far greater than anything they could have anticipated. Confusion and captivity fill their minds as their inner worlds crumble under the weight of their own actions. The conspiracies they once devised against you now haunt them, filling them with shattered beliefs and a profound sense of uncertainty. They tremble, ensnared in the traps they set for others. Where they once believed themselves to be masters of their own destiny, they now face a harsh reality, a destiny that has turned on them. In Proverbs 1 verse 31, we are reminded, "They will eat the fruit of their ways and be filled with the fruit of their schemes." The very actions they thought would secure their control are now the source of their greatest fears. Their spirits, once full of pride and confidence, are waning. Each breath becomes a reminder of their growing unrest, as the weight of divine justice presses down on them. As you witness their downfall, remember that your resilience and trust in God have guided you through trials, not only preserving you but lifting you higher. You are no longer bound by the darkness they try to impose on you. Instead, you stand as a testament to God's unshakable promise of restoration and justice. The unraveling of their power is now unavoidable. No path they choose can bypass the inevitable weight of divine justice. Those who once stood by them, former friends, allies, even family, are now unwillingly caught up in this monumental collapse. Faces that once brought comfort and trust are now entangled in the same destruction, drawn into a transformation that reveals every hidden intention and exposes every dark alliance. Imagine seeing friends, classmates, or even close family members who once walked beside you, who later turned their backs, now swept away in the storm. They unknowingly supported those who hid in the shadows, hoping to stay unseen, are now brought into the light, forced to confront a harsh new reality. Relationships built on secrecy and hidden partnerships that once seemed secure are now breaking apart, with each hidden word and deceitful act surfacing one by one. The once stable ground they relied on has begun to give way, as the secrets they protected for years now collapse under the weight of truth. Even their supporters, the silent collaborators who thought themselves untouched by the fallout, feel a stirring within them. A subtle unease that grows into deep regret and mounting fear. The alliances and benefits they once trusted in are slipping through their fingers, each connection crumbling under the weight of their shared choices. In Luke 8 verse 17, it is written, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." This unveiling is a reminder that, no matter how deeply buried, every action and every hidden bond eventually comes to light. Those who contributed to the darkness, knowingly or unknowingly, are now drawn into the very chaos they sought to escape. The winds of divine justice blow through their lives, dismantling the illusions they clung to, turning them into reluctant witnesses to their own collapse. As this storm unfolds, their lives are shaken from the roots, revealing a fate far different from what they had anticipated. Forced to confront their own regrets, each one faces a stark reality. As the temporary friendships, alliances, and gains they once valued fade away with every passing day, the stronghold they built begins to crack and shift, forcing them to confront the shadows within their own hearts. Proverbs 10 verse 9 tells us, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out." Those who chose dishonest paths now face the consequences, as every foundation they trusted in begins to crumble. The silent contributors, who thought they were outside the chain of events, find themselves in the end woven into its center, faced with the weight of their decisions and the inevitable justice that follows. Through this collapse, the one stable facade they constructed is shattered, exposing the reality that what is built on falsehood can never stand. Each of them must now face the truth, as the walls of their inner worlds fracture under the pressure, revealing the consequences of every choice made in darkness. The hidden darkness within each one of them is now exposed under the unwavering light of divine justice. No corner remains untouched. Every shadow is swept away, as this intervention moves through every aspect of their lives. This is a reckoning that leaves no hiding place, bringing every long-buried action, every unchecked thought, to the surface. Those who once hid behind shadows, confident in secrecy, now find themselves at the mercy of a powerful truth that cannot be ignored or undone. This great wave of justice spares no one. Each hidden corner is met with the unyielding truth, exposing everything they hoped would remain hidden. As they look back, they are faced with the trust they lost, the loyalties they broke, and the alliances they destroyed. But all they find in this reflection is a void, a darkness that echoes with regret and loss. In Ecclesiastes 12 verse 14, we read, "For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil." This moment of exposure is not accidental. It is the unfolding of a divine plan to reveal the truth in every hidden act. God's intervention brings forth the unchangeable truth, forcing each person to confront their role in this story. There is no refuge in denial, no peace in clinging to the shadows. Those who acted freely, convinced they could escape consequences, now feel the weight of their actions. They never imagined their own deeds would circle back, but now the roots of their suffering begin to surface. Their past actions, once thought forgotten, reflect back into their present, casting long shadows over every aspect of their lives. This reckoning affects more than just their physical circumstances, it pierces their mental and emotional worlds as well. Their balance is shaken, leaving them unable to deny the deep connection between their own decline and the harm they inflicted on others. As Proverbs 26 verse 27 reminds us, "Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, if someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them." Their past intentions, once intended to harm others, now return to haunt them, becoming an undeniable force in their lives. What's striking is how this unveiling affects not only their external lives but their internal states as well. Their peace crumbles, leaving them vulnerable, haunted by the very darkness they once wielded with such confidence. As they confront the collapse around them, they are forced to acknowledge the source of their suffering. Their denial fades, and they begin to see the intricate connections between their downfall and the harm they spread to others. With each moment, the clarity of divine justice intensifies, revealing that no one can escape the truth. You are surrounded by an inexplicable shield, a divine layer of protection that keeps you safe from every scheme intended to bring you down. While your enemies writhe in the consequences of their own faults, entangled in traps they set themselves, they lack the strength even to approach you. The very gears of their plans, designed to harm you, now turn against them, swallowing them whole. Your existence is safeguarded by a higher power, one that watches over every step you take and shields you from every attack. They may believe they executed their plans flawlessly, confident that you would fall. Yet each attempt they make only reinforces the fact that God has already placed you beyond their reach. As they witness what appears to be the depletion of your strength, no victory unfolds for them. Falling into their traps was never your destiny. God has lifted you to a place of safety beyond the grasp of those who would harm you. Psalm 91 verse 7 reminds us, "1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you." This assurance of divine protection not only keeps you safe, but places you above the fray, in a position they cannot reach. Every warlike intention they hold crumbles before your eyes. The tools they wield, once intended as weapons against you, turn to dust, ineffective and powerless. What they fail to realize is that every attack they launch doesn't diminish you, instead, it purifies and strengthens you. Each deceitful plan, each trap, only serves to refine the power within you, reinforcing the resilience and purpose that God has placed in your spirit. Consider the story of Joseph, who faced betrayal and injustice at the hands of his own brothers. What they intended for harm became the path that led to his rise, Genesis 50 verse 20. Just as Joseph's trials became the foundation for his elevation, your enemies' schemes ultimately serve to make you stronger. Those destined to fall witness your mysterious strength, a power they cannot comprehend. As you continue to rise beyond their reach, meanwhile, they plummet, watching their power slip away, their plans drifting into chaos. They resemble shadows, lost in the darkness of their own making, blindly chasing something that no longer exists. What they seek to conquer has long been beyond their grasp, and every attempt they make to reclaim control only leads them further astray. In their pursuit, they fail to understand that what they're chasing is not only unreachable, it is protected, guided, and elevated by a force far greater than they can imagine. As you stand firm, remember that every struggle has brought you closer to a purpose they cannot touch. Now, they persist in their search, convinced they can find some trace of you, believing that victory is still within their grasp. But they are blind to the reality that God has lifted you to a place beyond their reach. Every attempt to track you down only leads them into new failures and dead ends. They chase a shadow, unaware that what they pursue has already been placed under divine protection. For you have been moved to a space unreachable to those who once plotted against you. All that remains for them is the mounting frustration of their own futility, the anger that grows as every effort collapses in disappointment. As they flounder in this relentless pursuit, they fail to recognize that their power is slipping away like sand through their fingers. As one of God's chosen, you have not only been shielded from their reach but exalted to a position they cannot approach. The power they once believed they wielded over you is now nothing but an illusion. As the systems and structures they relied upon crumble around them, while they stagger under the weight of their own collapse, defeat draws nearer, stealthily wrapping around them, pulling them into a deepening abyss of their own making. Think of Isaiah 54 verse 17, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn." This promise holds true as their every scheme disintegrates, no longer able to impact you as they once hoped. Each attempt they make against you only hastens their downfall. Surrounded by divine light, you walk a protected path, untouched by their schemes, while they stumble through a tangled labyrinth, trapped by their own intentions. Every step they take only leads them deeper into the very traps they set. With each twist of their path, ensnaring them further. Even if they persist in their struggle, convinced they can turn the tides, the outcome is already written. Every attempt fades into shadow, dissipating in God's unbreakable plan. For in His eyes, there is only one promise for those who attempt to harm His chosen: failure. The divine protection surrounding you is impenetrable, and no effort can break through it. You stand exalted, untouched by the chaos around you, as those who once opposed you are pulled into the consequences of their own making. The war has already ended. The power of God moves like a quiet storm, slowly consuming and wearing down every effort made by those who sought to harm you. They crumble, overwhelmed by anger and chaos, while you move forward under the holy shield of divine protection. Pursuing a dark purpose, your enemies find themselves pulled into an ever-deepening vortex of pain. They search for traces of you in places they once inhabited, hoping to find a way back to the control they thought they held. But their efforts are in vain, for God has granted you the gift of secrecy, shielding you from their reach. Blinded by their own ambition, their plans have twisted into tools of their own undoing, turning inward to consume them. As they become trapped in their own mental labyrinths, once their thoughts were sharp and calculated, aimed at achieving their goals, now those same thoughts loop endlessly in a spiral of chaos and confusion. Instead of standing out in strength, they stumble through darkness, coated in the very mist they intended for you. You are the greatest obstacle they face, the chosen one, protected and exalted. Lost in blind desolation, they wander as if everything is shrouded in mist, aimlessly sinking deeper with each step into a dark and boundless sea. Just as Proverbs 5 verse 22 says, "The evil deeds of the wicked ensnare them, the cords of their sins hold them fast." So too have those who plotted against you become bound by the very chains they crafted. Their influence has dissolved, and they no longer hold any power over you. While God lifts you into a freedom they cannot touch, the false order they tried to impose on your life has been completely erased by divine will, leaving them powerless in a chaotic and inescapable battlefield. Now they wander alone, every shadow revealing a new trap, every step ensnaring them further. The ditches they dug with arrogance have transformed into cages binding them in the very places they once ruled. Each move they make only amplifies the weight of their mistakes, dragging them deeper into the very field they once believed they commanded. Surrounded by the consequences of their own actions, they face the undeniable truth that no plot, no scheme can overcome the power of divine protection and justice. Standing firm in God's light, you are freed from their influence, moving forward with strength, while they remain trapped in the ruin of their own making. Now all they hear are the echoes of their own losses, a haunting reminder of the helplessness and fear that now rule their lives. God's decree hangs over them like an immovable weight, a force they cannot escape or challenge. Under this divine judgment, they are crushed, unable to comprehend or confront the true extent of their wrongdoings. They once basked in the illusion of victory, intoxicated by power and control. But now, that power has slipped away, leaving them with only an empty yearning that can no longer be fulfilled. Even when they realized the power was gone, they clung to stubborn pride rather than turning to humility. Now, the very darkness they sought to avoid has become both their constant companion and greatest adversary. Once, they believed they could see and control everything, standing at the center of their own constructed world. But now, left alone in the depths of darkness, they are stripped of the clarity and control they once prized. Each step you take illuminates their past mistakes, each revelation hitting them like a frigid wind across their faces. They are trapped in an unending cycle of blind missteps, a prison of their own making. God's justice surrounds them, absolute and unyielding, dismantling every ounce of arrogance and false confidence they once held. What remains is only an empty shell, a reminder of the futility of their past pursuits. Proverbs 16 verse 18 warns, "Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall." Their self-assured pride, once thought to be a sign of strength, now leads them to a desolate end. The chains they once mistook for freedom have become their guides into the dark void, binding them to the very end they sought to avoid. Now, every possible escape route is closed. Every hidden corner, every place they thought would provide safety, echoes with the choices they made. The crowds that once supported them, that once admired their supposed power, have begun to quietly fade, leaving them utterly alone. God's decree does more than restrict them, it confronts them directly with the consequences of their actions. They walk forward helplessly while you remain beyond their reach, untouched and untroubled. Their attempts to pursue you are fueled by pride and anger, but no matter how they strive, they make no progress. Each step is a reminder of their own mistakes, tightening the traps they set for themselves. You have moved beyond, elevated and protected, while they wander lost, trapped in a cycle of failure driven by their blind greed. God's hand has placed you out of reach, shielding you in a place of security, while they remain ensnared in a perpetual loop of their own design. Proverbs 11 verse 5 tells us, "The righteousness of the blameless makes their path straight, but the wicked are brought down by their own wickedness." They are reaping the results of their own actions, caught in a cycle from which they cannot escape, watching as the power they once clung to dissolves around them. Sometimes, you can see them struggling within this vicious cycle, lost as they chase the faint traces you left behind. They cling to old memories, to remnants of a path you've already long surpassed. Once, they stood proudly, believing they ruled over you, confident in the control they thought they held. But now, they stand alone, burdened by the emptiness of their illusions. While you have ascended to a level they can never attain, blinded and stumbling, they continue forward on a path of agony with no way out. God has placed you in a realm of protection and elevation, removing you from the reach of their schemes. The false structure they built over you, the illusions of control and power they tried to impose, has been completely dismantled. You stand free, moving forward in a divine purpose, untouched by the shadows of their past pursuits, while they remain bound to the ruins of their own making. In these desolate lands, upon a chaotic and inescapable battlefield, they now wander alone. Every corner, every shadow is lined with traps, closing in on them as they stumble through the very darkness they once controlled. The ditches they dug with their own hands, designed to capture others, have turned into cages, imprisoning them in a space they once believed they ruled. Each movement forces them to confront the weight of their past decisions, dragging them deeper into the labyrinth of their own making. They are surrounded by the echoes of all they have lost, echoes filled with helplessness and fear, haunting them at every turn. God's decree looms above them, an immense and unavoidable force, bearing down upon them with a weight they cannot escape. Their past choices have finally closed in, leaving them unable to understand, see, or even acknowledge the consequences of their actions. Once intoxicated by the thrill of victory, the power they thought they held slips away like sand, leaving them chasing an empty desire. In their blindness, even as that power faded, they clung to the darkness with stubborn pride, unwilling to face the truth. This darkness, once their ally, has now become both their closest companion and their greatest adversary. No longer able to see or comprehend, they are trapped within it, helpless. The illusions they created, the control they thought they wielded, have dissolved, leaving them in a world that offers no refuge. Isaiah 5 verse 20 reminds us, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness." Their distorted choices have now transformed the very light they once thought they controlled into an all-consuming shadow. They once believed they could see everything, that they could bend others to their will. But now, stripped of power and influence, they are left helpless in the darkness, trapped in a web woven by their own hands. With each step you take, every wrong decision they made, every error they committed, confronts them like a frigid wind against their faces. There is no escape from this endless cycle of consequences. God's absolute justice surrounds them, unraveling every trace of arrogance and false confidence they once held, leaving behind only an empty shell. The mental chains they believed brought them freedom now lead them down a dark and inescapable path. Every route they once relied upon is closed. Every corner, every hiding place echoes with the choices they made, a haunting reminder of their past actions. Even those who once stood by them, the crowds who believed in their power, have silently drifted away, leaving them completely isolated. God's decree not only restricts them, but forces them to face the repercussions of their deeds. They move forward, unaware of the full weight of what's unfolding, yet unable to escape its impact. Like shadows being dragged without leaving a trace, they are swept along by forces they no longer control. Meanwhile, you remain in a place beyond their reach, untouched and unaffected. Their relentless efforts to pursue you are driven solely by pride and anger, yet they find no progress, no open path. Each attempt only serves to deepen their struggle as they bear the weight of their own mistakes. Every time they try to escape, they find themselves further entangled with the traps they set, now closing in around them. You have moved beyond them, ascending to a place they can no longer approach. They, in turn, have become the lost ones, blind to their own descent. Proverbs 14 verse 12 warns, "There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death." Driven by blind ambition, they believed they were on a path of power, yet it has become their undoing. God's protection has placed you beyond their understanding, shielded by a grace they cannot comprehend. As they remain trapped in a cycle of perpetual failure, their vision obscured by pride and greed. You continue forward, untouched by their schemes, safe in the knowledge that divine justice upholds and protects you. Sometimes you can glimpse them, caught in this relentless cycle, lost in pursuit of the fading traces you left behind. They are confined to old memories and fragmented pieces of a past they cannot escape, wandering paths that you moved beyond long ago. Once they believed they had dominion over you, confident in their power and influence. But now they stand completely alone, unable to reach the level of freedom and purpose you have attained. As you rise, they continue to fall, tangled in a path of agony, unable to find an exit. These adversaries are not merely strangers, they include old friends, former classmates, even family members who once turned away from you. Those who once mocked you from positions of perceived strength now find their places crumbling beneath the weight of their own choices. The burdens of reckoning press heavily upon their minds, leaving them not only with regret for what they did, but drowning in the hopelessness of their predicament. They once saw themselves as untouchable, invulnerable to consequence, but God's justice has humbled them, unraveling every illusion of security they once held. Proverbs 16 verse 18 teaches us, "Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall." What they once mistook for strength has become their undoing, reshaping each step they take as part of God's unyielding justice. Their struggles are not simply physical or external, they are burdened by a deep internal chaos, a mental and spiritual entrapment from which they cannot escape. Every choice, every scheme meant to bring you down, now binds them tighter to the consequences of their actions. They have fallen into their own traps. The power and arrogance they once wielded have transformed into forces of self-destruction. Their pride and ambition, once thought to elevate them, have now become the very forces that entangle them in an unbreakable cycle. While they suffer the effects of their own decisions, you stand beyond reach, in a place of peace and elevation, untouched by the shadows that once sought to envelop you. Each day, a weightier judgment presses upon them, pulling them deeper into their own internal chaos. While they sink further, bound by the consequences of their actions, you have been lifted to a place they cannot reach, resting securely under God's protection. A divine peace has been granted to you, a peace that transcends the turmoil that surrounds them. Their choices are now disconnected from you. Though they search and strive, what they seek is not truly you, but the control they lost. Their lives have become entangled in the very destruction they built with their own hands, a fortress that now imprisons rather than empowers them. Meanwhile, God has directed you to a higher path where their actions hold no sway, leaving them to face the bitter fruits of their own decisions. Even if they try to harm you, you do not respond in kind. As a chosen soul, you are set apart not to retaliate, but to forgive. Your path is to offer grace, a response that reflects God's own mercy. This forgiveness is not extended because they have earned it, but because divine will seeks to use you as a vessel of peace, an instrument of God's higher purpose. In Romans 12 verse 19 it says, "Do not take revenge, but leave room for God's wrath, for it is written, 'It is mine to avenge, I will repay,' says the Lord." You walk a path that rises above retaliation, trusting in God's justice while embodying His compassion. Your enemies, struggling with scattered thoughts and fractured spirits, find themselves on the brink of destruction, their minds and bodies weary from their own internal battles. Some are close to exhaustion, their lives slipping like sand through their fingers. Yet in God's mercy, they are still granted grace, through your prayers. Though they may not recognize it, your prayers extend a hand of compassion to those who sought to bring you harm, offering a light in their darkness. This act of forgiveness becomes a testament to God's love, using you to demonstrate that even in the face of pain, there is room for grace and redemption. Your prayers may offer them a glimmer of light in their darkness, a subtle guide that could lead them toward repentance, a final chance for change. Their suffering, while a consequence of their actions, also serves as a gateway to healing, an opportunity for transformation. Though many may resist, denying the deeper purpose of this painful journey, they now stand on the edge of a cliff. Your prayers are not to confirm their mistakes, but to call them to open their eyes and see the truth before it's too late. This unique responsibility you carry offers them the chance to create a change within their hearts, to turn from their ways and seek peace. God's choice of you for this role is not due to any obligation on their part, but because your prayers hold the potential to spark an awakening in their spirits. As the time of judgment approaches, your prayers may soften hardened hearts, perhaps opening a path to redemption for some who are willing to turn. Proverbs 21 verse 1 reminds us, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, he directs it like a watercourse wherever he pleases." Your prayers act as a vessel through which God may reach even the most resistant hearts, offering them a final chance to turn back from the edge. Every step they take, every decision, is laid bare before God's watchful eyes. No plan, no betrayal, no hidden word goes unnoticed, for it is all held in the depths of divine awareness. God's attention misses no detail. His memory, eternal. And his justice, unwavering. They may believe that the actions of the past have been erased by time, forgotten in the quiet spaces of memory. But with God, nothing is forgotten. His justice is sharp, and his timing, precise. The reckoning they hope to evade now bears down on them with full weight, forcing them to confront the results of their choices. While they may not realize it, your prayers offer a bridge, a pathway to reconciliation that could save them from an irreversible outcome. As God's chosen, you are called not only to witness, but to intercede, standing as a beacon of mercy and truth in the midst of their darkness. Everything they cast into darkness has now returned to them like a relentless wave, a storm of anger and consequence that surrounds them on all sides. God's timing is flawless. His judgment manifests with a precision that leaves no room for escape. Even the most hardened hearts cannot withstand his justice, for it finds and surpasses all human resistance. The years they once spent in perceived security were merely a delay in their inevitable downfall. Each day they refused to turn away from their mistakes, each time they clung to pride over humility, the weight of their actions compounded, growing heavier and harder to bear. Now, the defenses they once relied upon, the illusions that protected them, crumble under the force of divine truth. There is no place left to run, no sanctuary from the burden of their deeds. Their suffering deepens as they reject God's mercy, solidifying a path that leads to their own self-made ruin. Their hardened hearts have become their prison, binding them to a long, solitary road of struggle and resistance. Each step brings a fresh wave of challenges, yet rather than turning toward grace, they face each test with stubbornness, sealing themselves deeper within their own judgment. The foundations they once trusted, their pride, ambition, and power, are steadily eroded, leaving them with a continuous sense of collapse. As they resist, they sink further into the depths of God's judgment, unable to find the peace they once took for granted. Romans 2 verse 5 tells us, "But because of your stubbornness and your unrepentant heart, you are storing up wrath against yourself for the day of God's wrath, when his righteous judgment will be revealed." Their refusal to soften, to seek forgiveness, has led to a buildup of consequences that now confront them head-on. The very ground beneath them gives way, leaving them in a storm of their own making, adrift in a vast sea of judgment. While you witness this unraveling from a place of peace, you are lifted to a height that your enemies can no longer reach. Safe under the watchful eye of God, protected and shielded, you stand firm as their world collapses, untouched by the chaos surrounding them. As they are weighed down by the consequences of their actions, you continue forward, safeguarded by divine grace and elevated beyond their reach. As you rise in strength and purpose, you witness them being drawn down toward the end they crafted with their own hands. Every action, every choice rooted in pride and deceit, has built the very chains now binding them. Their stubborn, unyielding hearts, which once seemed a source of power, have become shackles that hold them in a prison of their own making. Surrounded by the pain of their consequences, they stand at a crossroads. If they refuse to turn, the judgment awaiting them will be as sharp as it is inevitable. Proverbs 29 verse 1 warns, "Whoever remains stiff-necked after many rebukes will suddenly be destroyed, without remedy." Their hearts, hardened by years of defiance, have resisted mercy's gentle call. Now, this path they walk narrows with each step, leading deeper into a reckoning they can no longer avoid. God's justice does not waver. It is unwavering, a reflection of His holiness and truth. For you, standing firm and protected, this serves as a reminder of the strength found in humility and faith. Elevated by divine grace, you continue to rise while they sink into the very depths they once imagined for others. Their fate is now bound to the choices they made, unless they choose to open their eyes and seek a path of repentance before it is too late. God's justice is inevitable, and your enemies are coming to know this truth in ways they could never have foreseen. While you stand in victory, God's protective hand rests upon you, a shield that no resistance can overcome. The battle is over, and God's power has dispersed every scheme and turned their efforts to ash. None of their plans can succeed against the mission He has placed within you. As they struggle in their own chaos, you walk under His unwavering protection, your victory already guaranteed by His divine will. So continue forward with confidence, knowing each step you take is guided by God. Every obstacle in your path is a reminder of His strength working in you, making the downfall of your enemies certain. Now is the time to lift your gaze, rise above the distractions, and walk with purpose toward the path God has set for you. You were chosen for this journey, a path no one can alter. This is your moment to share the victories God has worked in your life, to let your testimony be a beacon of hope for others. Speaking your story is a powerful sign of His justice and protection, a reminder to all of the strength that comes with being chosen. Let your words inspire courage in others, sharing the journey God has led you through. Every word is a testament to His unchanging power. Thank you for being part of this journey. If this message has resonated with you, remember to like, subscribe, and comment below with your own reflections, or a simple God's victory to affirm your faith. Let's continue to encourage one another, walking forward with strength and purpose. May God's blessings fill your life with peace, protection, and unwavering joy.